Hi, I'm Tom Boonen and you're watching The Cycling Day.
Hello everyone, I'm delighted to be joined by legend of the sport, Tom Boonen here. And Tom, how's it been in retirement?
It's going very well, yeah. I've been keeping busy. Got my own classified company where I'm involved with. I was an investor a long time ago and we started selling the product last year in March. So we're setting up now dealerships around the world and stuff like that. So it's been very interesting times.
Like looking back on your career, you did so many great things. What was kind of your high point of your career? World champion, Paris-Roubaix, Tour of Flanders?
Yeah, there was a lot of highlights, but one of the most fun days I had on the bike was winning the World Championship team time trial, because it was the first time they did it again. It's like this big historical thing out of cycling, which we used to watch as kids, you know, the 100k team time trial, and then suddenly it came back on the World Championship. And with Quickstep we prepared it very well, and we won the first edition, and it was something mythical we did as a team, and I enjoyed that day very much.
So, like, we've heard from a lot of pros, but not a lot of pros are Belgian legends. So how is it, like, winning the Tour of Flanders and just the atmosphere from your perspective?
It's unbelievable, man. The Flanders was my first big race I've won. I won a few like Kent-Wevelgem and Harelbeke before that. But I was only 23 at the time, no, 24 at the time, sorry, when I won my first Flanders, so I was pretty young. And I think being young and doing that is even more intense. I think if you have already 10 years as a pro and then you win it for the first time, you know, you had a lot of, you know, you've been through a lot more. So for me, it was just like the wow factor was really unbelievable. And I still think, personally, for me individually, it was my best victory ever because the sensations I got feeling that day was unbelievable.
And Paris-Roubaix, it's such a crazy race, and even just riding the cobbles, it just seems incredible. How did you kind of how is it for you doing Paris-Roubaix, and how did you survive the cobbles?
Roubaix is my favorite race, and I discovered Roubaix when I was an Espoir, first year Espoir, and I did it with the Kortrijkse Groenige Spurters, which was my team. And I think I fell in for somebody else at the last moment. And I was 18 years old, and I was suddenly in the final of Paris-Roubaix, and I got sixth that day. Then Thor Hushovd won the race. I still remember it very well. And there was 5 guys in the breakaway, and I just was coming back at them at the velodrome, and I just missed out on the sprint. So they started sprinting when I was at 5 meters of them, and I got sixth. And I fell into the grass there, and I was so happy. And I told my mom and dad, like, this is my race. I'm coming back for this one. And I was in love with the race ever since. And since that day, it was my favorite race of the year.
Such a long career, so many amazing achievements, and I'm a huge fan of you. What was kind of your worst and hardest day on a bike as a pro?
You have a lot of, but I have this one day when they asked me about it. I was in Tour of California, and we had this stage which we did almost every year in Tour of California, like on Highway 1, the big highway next to the coast. And it was Tour of California was still in February at that time of the season, and it was the worst day ever. It was like 2 degrees, 3 degrees, and there was a wind, like a storm wind coming out of the sea, and just rain, but like masses of rain. And the stage was 260 kilometers long. And I think we were on the bike almost 9 hours that day because we had a headwind the entire day, and it was the coldest I ever was, and it seemed like that was a day was never ending. And when they asked me about my worst day, I think the entire peloton that did that stage are still talking about it. Like, that's the worst day I ever had on a bicycle.
So, well, growing up watching you and Cancellara was absolutely remarkable. What was it kind of like having Fabian Cancellara and you going head to head? What was it like for you?
Yeah, he was a hard competitor. I mean, but I think, like I told the guys yesterday here in the theater as well, I think having good rivals on their best level only adds to the victories. I mean, winning a race against a very good Fabian Cancellara, or him beating me when I was on my game, it makes it all a little bit more beautiful, I think. And we had fun racing each other, and we both won a lot of races. So in the end, I think we're both happy guys, and it was better to race against him than not having him.
So, like, looking at Belgian cycling right now, Remco Evenepoel, world champion, your old team as well.
Yeah.
How is it from you as an outsider and having known being a world champion as well?
Oh, it's crazy days, man. I think like Remco is really showing that the old school cycling is still possible, like winning classics and world championships and grand tours and everything in the same season and on 22, 23 years old. I mean, it's really crazy to see what he's done already this season. And the last 6 weeks of the season from San Sebastian to the Worlds, he was on a level I've rarely seen in my life. He was always in control, except maybe 1 or 2 stages where he had a little bit of an off day in the Vuelta, but even on that off day he kept the jersey. So yeah, he's an amazing guy. I mean, amazing bike rider.
So just last question, how would you improve pro cycling? Like, you've been a pro cyclist yourself. There's been so much talk about banning power meters or something like that.
I would say less racing. I mean, less racing doesn't really implicate that there will be less bigger races, but I think there's a lot of racing still going on, and you see that right now as well. The last 10 years, maybe 5 to 6 years, even more, guys are racing less, and they can race more. So by racing less, I mean all the preparation races and stuff like that, they're all doing the big races now. Like you see Tour of France winners coming to the Tour of Flanders and vice versa. Guys are doing good in the classics, are doing good in the Tour, and so more and more, I think the big races are getting more quality riders at the start on their best level. Whereas in the past, where we would do 90 to 100 races a season, yeah, you get tired sometimes. You're in the Tour and you're actually at the start of a Tour with tired legs, and you're just trying to finish the Tour on a decent level. So I think less racing and having all the good riders on their best game in all the big races makes cycling even more beautiful. So.